Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, I'm going to share with you this Node 3 setup that I did in Spreadchalk. This is actually just a slight modification from the previous live noding, so it's slightly more advanced, and I'll show you how it works first. So you can see, let me turn off the viewer index for now. You can see there's this bunch of emojis, and the emojis actually being generated automatically based on the distance of the emoji into this empty locator. So yeah, it's actually very simple. If I actually move the locator over there and then reset the whole thing, you see the emoji is now being kind of animated differently. So it's based. So I'm changing the index interactively simply just by using this empty. So but the whole emoji thing, the position of emoji doesn't change. The object doesn't swap its positions. Actually, in the previous live noding, we have like bunch of cylinder, kind of like a growing in height. And what happening there is actually I'm sorting the position of cylinder. While in this case, we don't change the actual position of the object. You see this emoji, the smiley emoji, and this the cringe emoji. Now, if I change it here, they are all still maintaining their position, so I didn't kind of swap the object's positions, and it's just work. And all these emojis just like a example objects. I can simply use like a 3D objects, whatever. Everything will just work still. Yeah, I'll explain what's going on. So we start with the objects in, basically just grabbing all the objects that's going to be animated. So that's clear enough. And then the next one, I'm using matrix apply to apply the transformations of these objects. And then for the next thing, we get the bounding box of each object to get the center. This is the mean of every object, the center point. Because I'm gonna use to tell Blender, okay, this is gonna be the position of each object. And you need to kind of use it to drive the scaling. Here I have this empty. This node is to grab the position of this empty, but I can just simply use anything. For example, if I use like a vector in, and I'm using the 3D cursor, you see this target thing, this is like a 3D cursor. If I grab that 3D cursor and plug it into this guy, and then reset the whole setup, you see it's changing automatically. If I put it here, tap there, and then the whole thing will change. So that can be convenient as well. For now, I'll just use the empty. So we already know what vector sort kind of does, and then especially with this distance thing. So we are using this reference point, measure the points position of this empty, for example, measure it with all the points of the objects, and then sort the data that way. Here I'm actually using the item order, the index, to offset the animations. Which is happening here, right here. So there is this like a multiple frames that are coming in to drive the scaling and whatnot. And I'm using this list sorting. So this is actually very important. There's a vector sort and there's a list sorting, and this guy actually makes everything works. This is very important. I'll just frame it. And map range and easing, everything else, it's pretty much the same like what I have explained in the previous live noding. And it goes into the scale. This is can be good or can be not good as well, depending. If you want to have like your own scaling, currently the scale is actually being driven by this value, frame value, and etc. We can of course like make it bigger if we kind of multiply the data that's coming in. So we can also randomize it here if you like. If we use like random number generator, just plug this into this guy. How many objects we have? 21. Give it a value, random value, and we should get something that's slightly more random with the scaling. You see, so a lot of control. Yeah, I think this is a kind of interesting setup. You can try yourself. Of course, we don't need to use emoji. We can use anything, you know, like the monkey head, for example. I probably need to have light. And here, so we have, if you have like a bunch of objects, and maybe I don't use like I'll use like a different 3D object so it's clearer. I'll have a donut as well. So anything you can have as many as you like. So I have this bunch of objects. I'll just gonna select those 3 and then select it here. Get selection now. You can see the objects being driven by SketchUp. And if I move this empty over there, see monkey, icosphere, and donuts. That's the order. I can actually select all of this and select. Now everything should work together. I thought that's kind of handy, and I don't know how you might be using this. I think it's for motion graphic. This is, I think, very useful. You can drive and control how the animation should start and how it should end, which everything is kind of in order. I'm thinking there's one more thing, like one more idea. It's like if I'm kind of using like if I'm using like a grease pencil, it's kind of controlling. Okay, all the animations should kind of start from here and then kind of go here and go here. That's actually, I think that's kind of more like the most ideal setup is to be able to use grease pencil to control the animations. So imagine if you have like multiple objects and then you are using grease pencil and then you kind of orchestrated the whole thing, you know. You have to start and then start from the left and then to the right and then the middle part. It's gonna be really cool. You can drive crowd simulation animation that way, I guess. Still kind of something that I need to think about, but for now this is one setup that you can use. Try studying this. I'll give you this note 3 for you to have a look. Maybe you can make some kind of modification, make things work better. But I think this is pretty good. I'm learning a lot from making this. So thanks again for tuning in. If you have any feedbacks, suggestions, comments, let me know in the comment section below. And thank you. I'll see you in the next video.